Welcome to the Fright Lab. I'm Lucas Yoakum. This is the 8th entry into the 2025 31 Days of Halloween Challenge, aka 31 Days of Horror, aka 31 for 31. Whatever term you're describing it, I hope you're enjoying it as much as I am. We've got, I don't know if treat is the right word here, but we've got a real special entry for you tonight. And that special entry tonight is the one and only The Beyond, which is directed by the auteur, the artist. I don't know. Anyway, his name is Lucio Fulci, and he might be one of the most recognizable names in a particular variety of horror, specifically the very splatter-y kind of splatter-punk, special effects-laden horror. Fulci, to me, is rather like the id of the kind of three great Italian horror directors of the last 40 years. So specifically, Lucio Fulci, Dario Argento, and Mario Bava. I would say that Argento is more of the ego of the bunch. His films are very cerebral and beautifully filmed. They're a little restrained, but they do a good job of indulging a real artistic quality. Bava is definitely, in my estimation, the superego of this sort of proposed Freudian consciousness. His films are very restrained, and they almost feel conservative in their style. They feel a lot more old-fashioned than a lot of Italian horror. They can be very upsetting and very bloody, but they feel very restrained. Fulci, well, Lucio Fulci then is the id. His films are wild, violent, and self-indulgent, which is to say, they are mostly a pretty good time if you're into that sort of thing. Now, Fulci's probably best known for this movie and a movie called Zombie 2, and it is a just bizarre film. But if you really like extremely violent, splattery zombie flicks, it's great, especially if you like zombie on shark violence. Those who know, well, you know. I think part of the power of The Beyond, why it's been such an enduring film, you have to remember, this film came out in 1981. This film has stuck around and really passed the test of time, despite being a very, very bizarre film. It's very strange. And part of that staying power outside of the extreme bizarreness of the film is that it was immortalized, I guess, by being one of the quote-unquote video nasties. Now, I've never delved into the subject of the video nasties with regards to the Fright Lab. I've never talked about it on the show, but it is one of those kind of strange sections of film history, specifically horror films. This is an incredibly deep subject, and I don't want to propose that I'm some sort of expert on it. So I'm going to give you the too long, didn't read version of it. Okay. So the Video Nasties were not officially called the Video Nasties, but they were a list of 72 films that were found in violation of the United Kingdom's 1959 Obscene Publications Act. And the act defined any obscene publication as something that, quote, tends to deprave and corrupt persons who are likely, having regard to all relevant circumstances, to read, see, or hear the matter contained or embodied in it, end quote. If you're going to say that a thing is going to cause depravity or corruption, especially as it relates to horror films, you have to appreciate that is catnip for most horror fans. Even the more cerebral variety want to see something making that claim. This is basically like those old parental advisory stickers that were put on albums in the 1980s and early 1990s from the PMRC. Buying those albums, listening to them, and enjoying them, God forbid, almost became like a badge of honor. So The Beyond has that same kind of weight by being a video nasty. The outcome of the video nasties is such a long story, but it is kind of the history of censorship in the UK. Here again, it's a little too deep for this sort of short, abridged episode. So maybe, who knows, it could be a good couple of episodes for a longer episode with the Fright Lab. But it's dawning on me that I haven't actually talked about what The Beyond is about. And I acknowledge that trying to say, here is the plot of The Beyond is kind of missing the point of The Beyond, I suspect. It is not that kind of movie. The plot is a vehicle more for the visuals and the atmosphere than it is for the story itself. I don't think it's a particularly brainy kind of film, but here's the plot writ large. So in the 1920s, a hotel exists in New Orleans that, for whatever reason, sits on top of a fabled gate, one of 7 gates to hell. Sorry, I had to do that. And for whatever reason, a painter by the name of Zweig was living there and apparently brought damage and terrible stuff to the local inhabitants. They find him and they kill him real bad. They really mess him up. And okay, so flash forward now to the, hyper modern year of 1981. The hotel is acquired by a woman who inherits it, and she's trying to renovate it to reopen it as a hotel. Chaos ensues. That's basically the plot. And you're thinking to yourself, well, Lucas, how could this hyper splattery masterpiece be so simple? I mean, that really is just about it. It is violent, it is gory, it is goopy. It's kind of a zombie film, but only in kind of the broadest strokes. It's more occult. It's more about wild, gruesome kills and, vats of acid and tarantulas that for some reason squeak. It is a strange movie. But as a fan of the film, I do have to point out, part of the reason I love this movie so very much is the score by a guy named Fabio Frizzi. He's been involved in the world of Italian music and composers since like 1975. Even if he had only done work on The Beyond, it would still be like, wow, what amazing, compositional skill. He did a handful of movies, I believe are all Fulci: City of the Living Dead, Zombie 2, The Beyond, as well as just kind of being around that musical world for a long time. He was still putting out music as late as 2018. He actually appeared on an episode of The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs with, I don't know if it's his band or a band he put together for a night of Fulci movies. It's a cool episode. Check it out. It's worth seeing. So here again, the real power of The Beyond is it's gory and violent. It only makes a little bit of sense. Should you try to approach this movie if you want to enjoy it for the plot? No, that would be an absolute waste of your spooky season. Don't do that. I do think, however, that the movie works. I think it is a kind of not mindless, not brainless. It is not a movie that you think about. You put it on and vibe to it. It is a wild kind of gross film like that. And if you like the very, practical gross, and gross in the mechanical, physical sense, if you like those sorts of effects, that very 1980s look, this has it kind of in spades. It's a great film for that. So should you watch it? Yeah, if that's what you want. So then I'm going to have to wrap it up here and leave this to my audience with a very special question. What do you guys think of Lucio Fulci's The Beyond? Is that a movie that garners more attention than it gets currently? And should we maybe talk about Lucio Fulci's whole thing as a subject for the show? You can let us know by reaching out to us at thefrightlabpodcast@gmail.com. We can also be found on basically all social media platforms. Just search for The Fright Lab. You'll find us. We are on YouTube, and we can be found anywhere you get your podcasts. So with that, my friends, The Fright Lab is written and researched by me, Lucas Yoakum. It is produced and engineered by the one and only Joseph Rend. We appreciate each and every one of you, and we'll talk to you all again really soon, probably tomorrow, actually. And in the meantime, enjoy your Halloween. We're having a great time with this. I hope you are too.